Last night was UFC Vegas 92, Edson Barboza versus Lerone Murphy, and there were some atrocious performances on this card. So bad and so terrible that it brought back the cuts video, back by popular demand. I know a lot of people have been asking where have they been. It's tough getting them out with the full card predictions, always working on them on Sundays. But next week, there's no full card. There's no card next week. So cuts video is back for this horrible, atrocious card. We're going to start off with some honorable mentions, which I'm going to go through really rapid fire because I got to cut this entire card damn near. And then we're going to get into the actual list. And I'm going to save last on the list for who most deserves to be fired after UFC Vegas 92. Let's start with the honorable mentions, okay? Let's start with the honorable mentions. Let's start with Tukos Tokos, okay? Lost against Omar C. He's an honorable mention solely because he was on short notice. Otherwise, if he wasn't short notice, he would be cut. This dude is getting ragdolled and bodied, and in between getting out grappled, he's too busy talking to admitted child abuser Brendan Allen. Like, dude, your personality isn't going to save you from getting choked out. Stop being such a clown. So he's an honorable mention. Again, I'm going to go through these rapid fire. Vanessa Demopoulos wins her fight via split decision over Emily Ducote. Looked like garbage. I mean, Juliana Miller level striking. Actually, probably a little bit better, slightly better, but it's that bad. Emily Ducote, just for losing to Vanessa Demopoulos, just leaving it in the hands of the judges where it's even possible to be robbed. You're a clown. You need to get cut too. Who else needs to be an honorable mention? Let's see. Who else is not on the list? Luana Pinheiro. Garbage. Got dominated by Angela Hill. Not that bad of a loss, so And yeah, I think that does it for another honorable mention. Last honorable mention. We'll make this the last honorable mention. We're going to say Edson Barboza, but it's not really because I don't want him to be cut. He needs to retire. He's taken it far too much damage. He's one of my favorite fighters. Been watching him since he came into the UFC. I can't possibly watch him take any more damage. He's taken a lot of damage in his last two fights. I want him to retire. Please, please retire Edson Barboza. Maybe get one more matchup or maybe you can get a win and then ride off into the sunset. That's what I want for Edson Barboza. Let's get on to the actual list. Let's start off with Warlley Alves. Warlley Alves lost to Abus Magomedov. He is now 14-8, and he's on a 4-fight losing streak. Got dominated by Abus. Abus couldn't even find a finish. Honestly, he should have been an honorable mention too for his cardio issues, but we've already talked about that in the past. Lost to Abus Magomedov, lost to Ikram Aliskerov, lost to Nicholas Dalby, lost to Jeremiah Wells. His last win was in 2021. His last win, I didn't even have a channel last time he won a fight. That's crazy. I mean, he does have that win over Colby Covington, so maybe we'll give him a title shot if he gets one more win, gets on a one-fight win streak against a 40-year-old. Maybe we'll give him a title fight because he does have a win over Colby Covington, who, Colby Covington, he's really good. He lost to Kamaru Usman twice, once via stoppage, so we know how good Colby is. Yeah, Warlley Alves, it's just time for him to go. He's 33 years old, 4-fight losing streak, 14-8. Got brutalized by Ikram Aliskerov. Had nothing to offer for Abus Magomedov, to be quite honest. I honestly don't, now I'm looking at his last 4 losses. I kind of feel bad even throwing him on the list because he did go through kind of a murderer's row. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to get a win in at least 1 out of 4. So Warlley Alves, it's time for him to go. He hasn't been brutally finished quite a bit. He only got really, the Ikram fight was really bad but outside of that for him. But outside of that, 2021 against Jeremiah Wells. So it's not like he's a guy that's taking ridiculous amounts of damage, but he's taking a lot of damage. He's getting beat up. He's clearly, he hasn't changed. I've been watching the sport since basically he came into the UFC. Let's see, when did he come into the UFC? Yeah, I've been watching the sport since before he even came into the UFC. He's been the same literally since he got into the UFC. He basically just looks for subs. He's never evolved, never changed, never improved. Get him out of the sport. Cut him immediately. Moving up on the list, we have Ramiz Brahimaj. He lost to Themba Gorimbo in one of the most disgusting performances I have ever seen for both guys. It was just a non-stop clinch fest. It was a complete embarrassment. It was an utter humiliation. They got put on a big spot on the card. That overall was a featured fight on a fight night card. I know it's Apex nowadays, but we're putting them in a big spot. The UFC's really trying to get behind Gorimbo, because Gorimbo, he's friends with The Rock. The Rock bought him a house, which I actually don't think he even bought him a house. But I think he rented him a house for a prolonged period of time, which is still great. I don't think he bought him a house. I don't think he actually bought him that, but maybe he did. But because of that moment, because of that post-fight speech of Themba Gorimbo previously and the friendship with The Rock, I feel like Gorimbo keeps looking for a viral moment, but let's get off of the topic of Gorimbo. The fight was abysmal. Non-stop hug. It was literally a 15-minute hug. It was a 15-minute hug. You would have thought Gorimbo and Brahimaj were married and one of them went away to war. That's how long they embraced. They caressed each other. They caressed each other for 15 minutes, and we had to watch that shit. You know me, guys. If you watch the channel with any regularity, you know I like grappling. I like clinch work. They literally just straight up hugged. They literally hugged the entire fight. It was an embarrassment. They weren't even doing any damage in the clinch. Then Gorimbo would get an occasional takedown, and then Brahimaj would get right back up. And what's crazy is Brahimaj was getting out clinched, and he was the one initiating the clinch. Get him out of the organization immediately. I don't ever want to see him fight again. Moving up on the list, we have Cledson Rodrigues. Good old Cledson Rodrigues, who lost to Alatong Haley. Look, he lost to Alatong Haley, lost to Farid Basharat, got a win over Shannon Ross. What does that mean? Shannon Ross is literally a dead body. Lost to CJ Vergara. Hasn't got a true win because Shannon Ross isn't a win. Anyone could beat Shannon Ross. I could beat Shannon Ross easily, even if I was 200 pounds less. His last true win, 2021, against a guy, it was some Contender Series, Santo Corotolo. Cledson Rodrigues literally has zero grappling, which is crazy. He laid on his back and closed guard the entire fight. And then in the third round, he's dicing him up on the feet. He initiates the grappling, gets taken down, and lays there on his back. Like, I swear, I'll tell you right now, and I haven't looked this up to confirm, but I would bet my life on it. Cledson Rodrigues' grappling coaches are Robelis Despain's grappling coaches as well. What a humiliating performance by Cledson Rodrigues. He literally could have easily won this fight by simply just being able to just stuff the takedown and stay on the feet, which I know, easier said than done. But it's not like Alatong Haley, some masterful, wrestler who has amazing top game. It's just he never tried to get to a hip. He never tried to get the feet on the hips. He never tried to push off. He never tried to scramble. He just laid on his back with another man in between his legs for 15 minutes. And 2 out of the 3 takedowns, because it only took 3, because he never got up once, were basically caused by Rodrigues. First round, basically looking for a guillotine. Second round, looking for a takedown of his own. Complete clown. Get him off the roster immediately. Moving up on the list, we have Piera Rodriguez. Piera Rodriguez loses to Ariane Carnelossi, who we may or may not talk about later in this video. Loses via DQ. She's winning the fight. She front kicks her, then drops her with the right hand. Why are you bringing your head down in any remote fashion that can even be interpreted as a headbutt, especially when Mark Smith's dumbass is your referee? Okay? I don't believe she should have got DQ'd, to be quite honest. There was no actual impact of the headbutts because people were watching them in slow-mo and acting like they were so egregious. There was no real impact. First one didn't even actually land as a headbutt. He said, watch your head. First one didn't even land. So now that he said, watch your head, the second one had some type of contact. And now she gets DQ'd. But just for her being an idiot and even causing this to happen to begin with, cut her. Lost to Jillian Robertson. Last win was against Sam Hughes and Kay Hansen. Where are they? Where's Kay Hansen at this point? I mean, I don't even recognize half the names on her resume. So she has 2. So she's 2-2 in the UFC. Yeah, get rid of Piera Rodriguez. She's been in the UFC since she won on Dana White's Contender Series October 2021. So she's been in the UFC a decent amount, honestly. And she's 2-2, losing to Jillian Robertson, getting DQ'd against Ariane Carnelossi, which I actually would like to see a rematch. I debated about whether or not to put her on the list, let alone this high, but you just can't be that dumb in a fight, especially when you got Mark Smith as your ref. He's an idiot. So you're going to mess up and basically have 2 moments where it appears to be a head clash, and you get DQ'd against Ariane Carnelossi where you're literally dominating the fight. Embarrassment, cut her from the organization. Moving up on the list, next up, we have Tamires Vidal. Tamires Vidal got TKO'd in the 3rd round because she got punched in the breast. And I swear, and someone has to let me know, recently I was watching fight tape, I believe it was for this card, someone called a timeout due to the fact they got punched in the breast. And I haven't gone back and looked for it. I think it was Tamires Vidal. I think she got a timeout. I want to say it was in the Montserrat Rendon fight, but someone can confirm, let me know down in the comments. It was a fight that I watched in the lead up to UFC Vegas 92 that some woman, and again, it could have been any of the fighters on the card, I was going back and watching some of their fight tape, got a break for a breast strike. Okay? I don't know who it was. I can't remember. I got to go back and look at that. But outside of that, she came out TikTok dancing. Thank God the cameras cut away. She was walking out like she was headlining MSG. And she was doing all these funky moves. She made me feel like an old man. I'm like, what is this idiot doing? Kids these days with their dumbass TikTok dances. This shit was embarrassing. It was humiliating. And it was a waste of our time. Then she goes out there. God, I don't even want to relive it. It was a shit performance. She had nothing to offer. No grappling. Laid on her back the entire time. Was just getting dominated, getting full mounted with absolute ease against Melissa Gatto. And then she calls timeout because she gets punched in the tit. Get her out of the organization. I mean, she's 7-3. The barrier of entry into the UFC is just so terrible. She's 7-3, lost to Melissa Gatto, lost to Montserrat Rendon. Oh, she beat Ramona Pasquale. Oh, great win. Oh, she beat Aylin Perez. She won via DQ. She's probably losing that fight. I think I've seen it before. She was losing that fight. Tamires Vidal is an embarrassment to the organization. I'm so sick. The reason I started making these videos to begin with, and people have asked me, well, where are they at? I've been making full card predictions, so it's been deciding what I need to make. This is what encouraged me to start making these videos, is because the barrier of entry into the UFC has gotten so low. Tamires Vidal, horrible, horrible fighter. No skill level at all. TikTok dancing like she's, in the NBA Finals, or, she's in the World Series or the Super Bowl like she's some superstar. Like anyone wants to see her TikTok dance ever. Just for the TikTok dance alone, cut her from the organization. I don't care if she's championship caliber. Embarrassment. Get rid of Tamires Vidal. She calls timeout. She pulls the Michael Chandler versus Will Brooks. But instead of a punch that actually hurt her, she said, oh, my breast, stop the fight. Stop the fight. Yeah, get rid of her. Moving up on the list. This is actually second to last. Second to last. I bet you thought this was going to be number one. We have Ariane Carnelossi. She won via DQ against Piera Rodriguez. And let me just start off by saying this. I know a lot of people don't want to be too harsh on fighters, and I think some people go too harsh on fighters for attention. This is neither of those two things. I don't give a fuck what any fighter thinks of me, but I also don't go out of my way to try to just shit on these fighters to be, some crazy guy who is looking for attention and looking for clicks. But let me just say this wholeheartedly, with all due respect. Fuck Ariane Carnelossi. Fuck her. And not literally, believe me, not literally. She is a piece of shit cheater, okay? Those headbutts did not affect her in any capacity, and she acted like she got shot by a sniper. She was smiling at her corner. She was communicating with her corner. I'll put up the picture. Go look it up for yourself because the picture doesn't do it justice. She was leaning around as soon as Mark Smith walked away. She was leaning around, smiling at her corner saying, I got this one, boys. And this is just... If this was a men's fighter, do you know the shit that they would get? Do you know the shit? And rightfully so. We can't encourage this, and that's what's happening now. People are encouraged to fake and act like they're affected from inadvertent fouls. In this case, some people are going to say it was intentional, but I don't believe it was actually intentional, and it had actual no impact. Anyone who says otherwise is a dumb fuck. Okay, and Carnelossi saw this as a way to get an out. And I'll tell you this right now. I said this in my post-fight. By the way, if you guys care for my post-fight recap for this whole card, I'll link it down in the description. I'll tell you this right now. Carnelossi, literally, it's I can't even put it into words. She knew. She said, I'm going to get a DQ. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get a DQ. I'm going to get my win and show bonus right now. She knew as soon as the ref stopped it. She knew I wasn't getting up. She knew she wasn't getting up at all. It was a complete embarrassment. I'm so tired of this happening. And it's been encouraged now. She was smiling at her corner. I'll never forget that shit-eating grin she had. Get rid of her. And I'll say this, and this is what I was getting to before, and then I got sidetracked a little bit out of anger. I never like to diagnose anyone of PED usage based off of Instagram pictures or Twitter pictures or body composition. I'll tell you this right now for sure. Ariane Carnelossi is on some type of PEDs. That is not natural. Her body type is not natural. No. And she comes in with her steroid-filled body, and oh no, I got head clashed. I can't continue. Because she was losing the fight. She is a scumbag. I'm being dead serious, guys. I don't actually get angry about a lot of stuff. This actually pisses me off because what this encourages is more of this in the sport. I can't watch it anymore. When you have people baiting, in this case she wasn't baiting, but waiting for the opportunity for a stoppage due to some type of foul just so they can try to claim victory. And that's what Ariane Carnelossi did. Get her off the roster immediately. Get her out of the. I never want to see her fight again. I will. I don't even know what I'm going to do if Ariane Carnelossi gets in. I hope they book the rematch actually, and hope Piera Rodriguez beats the dog shit out of her. I don't want to see her fight anymore. I want her gone from the organization. Please, UFC. She's a scrub. Cut her from the organization. Moving on to my last cut. My last cut is not an actual fighter from the card. It's Mark Smith, the referee who DQ'd Piera Rodriguez. Go watch my post fight. I break it down in detail. Neither head clash or neither head butt was impactful in any capacity. So how are you going to DQ her when there was no true impact of the clash? It's not like it was an illegal knee that hurt her so bad that Ariane Carnelossi couldn't continue. Those headbutts did not cause any significant damage. Anyone with two eyes could see that. The first one did not even really contact her at all. So how does Mark Smith watching those replays and like, oh yeah, well, intentional headbutt, so we're going to stop the fight? No, he should have recognized Carnelossi is just not continuing, not because of that. I don't understand how he lacks any critical thinking. I don't care if you believe, okay, the headbutts were dirty. They caused no damage. If you think they caused any concussive damage, you are a clown. Mark Smith is a clown, and he has a checkered past of this. And I actually have some notes. I don't have all the notes. I wish I would have been taking more detailed notes. But first off, this isn't even in the notes. I can just go this one right off the top of my head. Aljamain Sterling acted his way to a win because Mark Smith can't shut his fucking mouth. If you guys don't know, and a lot of people may have not seen this, Aljamain Sterling was kind of getting up, getting ready. And Mark Smith, because he can't shut his fucking mouth every fight, was like, right in front of Aljamain Sterling, he's whispering to the doctor, who the doctor only can deem whether or not a fighter is medically fit to continue fighting. That's all a doctor can do. He has nothing to do with the bearing of the decision of DQ or whatever. Mark Smith goes, yeah, if Aljamain Sterling can't continue, this is going to be a DQ. And then immediately Aljamain Sterling flops back and starts acting like, he got obliterated. Like Ben Askren got up quicker than Aljamain Sterling. These guys are frauds. And Mark Smith, I don't know the exact stat on this. And it's going to be impossible probably to compile it. I swear Mark Smith has more DQs than any other current, frequent UFC ref, okay? You go back to Dana White's Contender Series on September 27th. There was a blatantly illegal knee that was missed by Mark Smith, and he called it a TKO, okay? Cody Brundage versus Jacob Malkoun. It was an elbow that didn't even actually do any damage. It was one elbow as Cody Brundage kind of turned his head as Malkoun was throwing it. Oh, Mark Smith is like, let's DQ him. Then on 9/27, Jacob Montalvo DQ'd someone on a legal knee with guess who he counseled with when he's making this decision. You want to guess? It was Mark Smith. Mark Smith's dumbass just wants to be on camera. He runs in front of the camera every chance he gets. He never stops talking, and he only enforces the rules when there's some type of potentially legal strike. He's like, immediate DQ. You can grab the fence 150 times, and he'll just be like, don't grab the fence. Don't grab the fence. Don't grab the fence. He never enforces anything else. But, oh, I'll be damned. You accidentally land to an illegal area. You land to the back of the head. You land a head clash that it wasn't even impactful. You know, whatever may happen. And Mark Smith's immediately like, I'm DQing. I swear on my life, and this almost deserves its own video. A lot of these referees have this authoritarian complex. Like, respect my authority. I'm the boss here. And they have this built up ego, and I swear they need to get smacked. It's like they like to control. I swear half these referees go home and beat their wives. Okay? And I know that's crazy to even say. I'm telling you right now, Mark Smith is an egomaniac. I can tell just based off his reffing. He likes to go out there and be like, you watch what you say. And, you see it with Mark Goddard, too. You see it with Mark Goddard, the way he was treating Cedric Dombe. You seen Mark Goddard, I think it was Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, when Brian Ortega had the submission locked up and he was kind of getting untangled and it was loud in the arena, and then he let it go a little bit late and Mark Goddard's like shoving him away. You see those same traits in Mark Smith as well. Get rid of Mark Smith. People claim he's a good ref. He's a horrible referee. A horrible referee. Half these refs don't even belong in there, and Mark Smith is one of them. I swear all he does is try to be on TV. All he does is talk nonstop, and he either enforces the rules too strongly or he doesn't enforce them at all. That's literally what Mark Smith does. Grab the fence 60 times, he doesn't give a fuck. But, I'll be damned if you even graze the back of the head. I'm going to DQ immediately. DQ you immediately. The dude is a clown, and I'm telling you right now, he's encouraging other fighters to take this route of Ariane Carnelossi, of Cody Bumdage, and Aljamain Sterling. Literally, Mark Smith is the cause of this. When you see it happen in a year, when you see it happen in 6 months, when you see it happening more and more often in the next 5 years, blame Mark Smith. He is the one to blame. So that's my cuts video. I hope you guys are happy to see it back. Let me know down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Is there anyone I missed? Am I wrong about anyone who shouldn't be on the list? Let me know down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.